procedures that form the foundation of a structured workplace and better managed day-to-day operations. In the period I've been in office, we have developed 22 strategic documents, 24 manuals, including registry operation manuals, 38 policies, charters. And all these have been developed to facilitate the effective and efficient administration of justice. The documents cover virtually all areas of our internal operations, including finance and accounting, human resource management, internal audit, ICT, performance management, training and development, procurement and asset disposal, inventory management, conduct and ethics, sexual harassment, gender and disability mainstreaming, to mention but a few. These policies communicate the judiciary's culture, values, and philosophy, and provide guidance, consistency, accountability, efficiency, and clarity on how we operate. And I want to acknowledge and appreciate all directors and heads of units for the key roles that you have played in the development of these critical institutional documents, which have made all the difference in streamlining our operations to enhance support for the core function of the judiciary. All directors and heads of units, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Directors, HR, Director ICT, I can see Director DPOP, Performance Management, ICT. Thank you so much for the work that you have done. Please be seated. Thanks to the organizational review that we conducted in 2018, we now know our ideal establishment for each position, and the Judicial Service Commission can now make scientific decisions on recruitment, on deployment of staff to optimize the performance of courts and administrative units. In addition to the organizational review, we introduced other scientific and democratic methods in the management of the judiciary. The development and institutionalization of a standard data collection tool, the daily court returns template, has improved the timeliness and accuracy of caseload data collection, which is critical in informing decision-making, such as resource allocation, recruitment, deployment, promotion, and case tracking, among others. During the same period, the judiciary has adopted participatory methods in budgeting, leading to better decision-making in the allocation of funds to court stations and other service delivery units. We now have a standard formula for allocating funds within the judiciary, and this is of utmost necessity if we are to make the most of the meager funds we are allocated. We are only able to cover 50% of our resource requirements. 10 years ago, I found 119 judges of the superior courts. The number had stood at 53 at the promulgation of the Constitution, and today we have 189 judges, an increase by a factor of about 4 since August 2010. 10 years ago, we had 463 judicial officers. These are magistrates, caddies. This number now stands at 636. In that period, the total staff establishment grew by 54%, from 4,326 to 6,643. Thanks to the recruitment of all additional judges, magistrates, tribunal members, chairpersons, and judicial staff. I'm grateful to the Judicial Service Commission for making this happen. I know what it takes to recruit even one judge. I see 2 commissioners here, other than the Honorable the Chief Justice, Commissioner Njeru, Commissioner Oluwande. Please just stand up so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you so much for the support that I have received from the Judicial Service Commission. In terms of court expansion, we have been able to expand our physical presence across the country. Just as an example, in 2014, we had just about 20 High Court stations. Today, we have 45. We had 1 Court of Appeal station. Today, we have 5. We also have another 10 employment and labor relations courts and 10 sub-registries. We have 38 environment and land court stations. Following the enactment of the Small Claims Court Act in 2016, we have established and operationalized 13 small claims courts and facilitated the transition of 23 tribunals from the executive to the judiciary. I want to appreciate all the registrars for the support that you have received in constantly ensuring that courts are well facilitated within the resources that we have. And thanks to your support today, I leave behind a detailed registry operations manuals for our courts. That is the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, High Court, Employment and Labor Relations Court, the Environment and Land Court, and the magistrates in Kadis courts, and the tribunals. All registrars, please rise so that we can acknowledge you. Registrars, I see Honorable Candet, I see Honorable Kabucho, I see Clara and Letizia. Thank you so much for the work that you do. We do not take it for granted. These documents have helped standardize service delivery across our courts while reducing errors, misunderstandings, and inconsistencies in case handling, fostering trust, and ensuring accountability. So, Honorable Registrars, for all your efforts, I honor you. In terms of technology, ladies and gentlemen, 10 years ago, we had a judiciary with very little in terms of ICT support in our courts, and all our outward and internal processes were largely manual. Today, not only do all our courts have equipment and internet connectivity, we have taken our ICT a notch higher and completed the establishment of 3 data centers, namely the East Africa Data Center, the Supreme Court Data Center, and the Konza City Data Center. All these support our internally developed online services, which include e-filing, the case tracking system, email, the website from the previous leased cloud service. Our staff to equipment ratio for all senior officers now stands at 1:1. We have achieved 100% internet connectivity in all the court stations and offices. Our registry operations are automated to support case registration, fee assessment, cost list preparation, generation of court orders, and performance reports. A big thank you to our ICT Directorate and the committee led by Honorable Justice Lenola. I don't know if Judge is here, I haven't seen him. Previously Justice Steve Cairo for just steering all that. We thank you for all those efforts. Currently, thanks to your efforts, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal are now fully automated, and we are moving steadily towards universal e-filing services. So far, we have 13 counties that are fully covered. I'm happy to note that even with our minimal resources, the Judicial Service Commission has been instrumental in helping set up a paperless cabinet, a feat we are so proud about. In terms of physical infrastructure, we have new courts across the country. Many of our courts a decade ago were in a very sorry state. This remains true in some stations. And in spite of the many challenges, including shortage of funds, we now have court buildings defining skylines of many counties, including Nakuru, Mombasa, Bomet, Garsen, Narok, Chuka, Nyamira, Garissa, Nanyuki, Siaya, Voi, Maralal, Kabarnet, Olkalau, Kakamega, Isiolo, Makweni, Nkubu, Tamu, Makindu, Nyando, Beketoni, Molo, Kangema, Kigumo, Engineer, Vihiga, Oyugis and Hamisi, Kapenguria, Homa Bay, Marsabit, Kwale, Wajir, Kajiado, Lodwar, Mandera, Kibera, Mukurweni, Amagoro, Githongo, Kandara, Mbita, Habaswein, Embu, Butali, Port Victoria, Iten, Eldamaravine, Meru, Eldred, Mavoko, Kabarnet, Wanguru, Habaswein, and Mandera Kadhi courts. The list is very long. I read it out deliberately so that we can see that no part of the country has been left out in terms of our physical infrastructural expansion program. And I want to acknowledge the Building Services Directorate team. I know the difficulties under which you've operated, yet still managed to post the results that we celebrate today, even as we work on improving our output. Our chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, 10 years ago, the annual colloquium was a preserve of judges of the superior courts. And over the past decade, my office has facilitated capacity building programs for judiciary employees, including competency-based training for our staff, induction for all our newly recruited judges, judicial officers. We've had continuous judicial education in partnership with the Kenya Judiciary Academy, and the trainings have covered customer care, communication and integrity, case management, transcription and handling of electoral disputes. I want to appreciate the Kenya Judiciary Academy under the leadership of Honorable Justice Mokin Wanjala for the strides you're witnessing at the school. I don't see Judge Wanjala here, but we are forever grateful. We have seen growth in the technical capabilities of judges, judicial officers, and staff as they continue to offer services to the people of this great nation. 10 years ago, our courts were run by magistrates who had very little preparation, and they were placed in leadership and management of court stations. I myself, having served in the judiciary as a magistrate for 2 years, as a district magistrate, I was sent to head a station in Kisumu called Winam. And you just learned whichever way you could. I introduced the annual Heads of Court Stations Forum in 2015, through which heads of stations have deliberated, shared experiences, and curated good practices on issues of common concern in the leadership and administration of court stations. As we're all aware, all our business happens at the court station level. Today, I leave behind a documented guide for heads of stations, which serves as a quick reference to all judicial officers who may be called upon to discharge this critical role. I'm grateful to all the heads of stations who daily ensure that courts are running as they should with very limited resources. The results we celebrate today are a reflection of your efforts in ensuring the courts are running as they should. Do we have any heads of stations in the room? Yes, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It's very hard work. We are rarely acknowledged. Half the time we are being criticized and bashed, but you keep at it and you're making us proud. So thank you very much. As I leave the judiciary today, all magistrates and cadis have their own annual colloquia, and through the staff training committee, training opportunities are now available to all cadre of staff, equipping them with the critical knowledge and skills to do the work that they do. And today, with the help of the Ministry of Lands and Housing, the Kenya Judiciary Academy is a proud owner of 55 acres of land in Kibiko area in Ngong. We have completed the designs for the proposed academy for construction to commence in the near future, subject to availability of funds. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just have to say something about the National Council for the Administration of Justice, which 10 years ago was barely operational. Today, the NCJ has a vibrant council and a secretariat that is properly established and empowered to support its mandate. Do we have any members of the National Council chaired by the Honorable the Chief Justice? Members of the National Council for the Administration of Justice? Council members, thank you, DPP, thank you so much. Plus the Secretariat members, thank you for the work that you do. Through the Council, we have managed to cultivate better relations with the other arms of government without compromising on decisional and institutional independence of the judiciary. I appreciate all members of the NCJ for the work that you do in strengthening the administration of justice, all members of court users committees for your contribution to the smooth running of our courts. I know that we still have a lot of challenges, but together we will get there. Do we have any members of court users committees who have come to support us this morning? Court users committee members from any court, are you here? Thank you. Thank you so much. It's acknowledged. God bless you. Similar efforts have gone into the establishment of the Judicial Service Commission Secretariat, whose staff complement has also grown drastically from the baseline in 2014. And working closely with the Commission, we have recently managed to move the Commission to more spacious, more dignified offices at the Central Bank of Kenya Pensions Towers, which is a quantum leap for the Commission's humble beginnings at the prefabricated offices on the second floor of the Supreme Court building. In terms of terms and conditions of service and employee welfare, ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason for the scale movement in the justice sector. There is a reason it is unidirectional towards the judiciary. We have moved the judiciary to being one of the best in staff welfare in the public sector. Our mortgage facility has so far disbursed more than 6.6 billion shillings, while the car loan scheme has disbursed more than 709 million to judicial officers and staff. We have also established a psychosocial support unit that has handled over 500 individual cases since the unit's inception in January 2020. And needless to say, the scope of enhanced benefits is a privilege that very few have. And so to my colleagues in the judiciary, I can only say that the public has done its part. They deserve corresponding improvement in our output, in our fairness, and in our integrity. In terms of budget, 10 years ago, we were at 15.7 billion. We have worked very closely with the National Assembly in the exercise of its power of the purse, and I believe when the budget stands at 21.2 billion, with the Judiciary Fund now operationalized, its teething problems notwithstanding. We are still operating at 50% of our resource requirement. I'm happy to see the deputy speakers with us here, and we will continue to ask that the judiciary is supported to get there. In a story not too common in the public sector, the National Treasury recently gave us a commendation as the Auditor General returned an unqualified opinion in our books of accounts for the financial year 2021-2022 in relation to the Judiciary Performance Improvement Project. As an accounting officer, you have no idea the depth of satisfaction that I draw from this. And notably, we have managed to reduce the number and gravity of judiciary audit issues that we've had in the past. Our engagements with the Public Accounts Committee are far less acrimonious than they were before. And I just want to acknowledge everyone for their participation, for their support in getting us to achieve this. We now have a database of sexual offenders, which we did not have before. I'm pleased that we've been able to operationalize the Sexual Offenders Register, which is now electronic, with information that could make our community safer while helping justice chain actors make informed decisions about suspects. And while on matters of gender, the judiciary that I leave today is also the most gender-balanced arm or even agency in government. 51% of our total workforce is now female. Kina mama mpo. The gender parity is reflected at all levels of the judiciary. At management level, we have 7 out of 9 registrars are women, 30% of directors and heads of other units are women. There's a time I appeared before JLAC and they asked me where the men were, because everybody there was a woman, which is a good thing. One of the most exciting things that I got to do was just a privilege to swear into office 2 presidents in 2017, 2022. And also managing 2 internal leadership transitions from Honorable CJ Emeritus Dr. Mutunga to CJ Emeritus David Maraga to CJ Martha Kome. This for me is a rare privilege that not many have had. I do not take it for granted, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. I'm very proud to have created and to leave behind a polity of judicial officers and staff, together with systems that ensured the institution and the administration of justice functioned efficiently and effectively without too much or any noticeable glitch in the metrics during moments of transition in judicial leadership. At the national level, my office has developed guidelines on the administration of oath of office to the President and the Deputy President for reference by all who will be called upon to support this solemn occasion in the future. In conclusion, honorable ladies and gentlemen, this is my testament of service. On it, I stand with it. I'm proud. The record is testament to the fact that when institutions and leaders are determined to make a positive difference, they can actually do it. When the Chief Justice Mutunga famously said that he had found a judiciary that was so frail in its structures, resources, and culture, it was not hyperbole. It was the truth. When the transformation journey began, few would have imagined the strides that have been made. The judiciary, I dare say, is an institution reborn, and certainly the most transformed institution since the Constitution of Kenya was promulgated 13 years ago. So I walk away today deeply gratified that I have been part of this remarkable accomplishment that we have registered. I thank everyone who has walked this exciting yet challenging journey with me. I can assure you that there have been very many difficult moments when the only thing that kept me going were prayers and support from all of you. I have experienced the true meaning of the grace of God, the goodness of God, and the favor of God. I therefore don't take anything for granted. I don't take your support for granted, everyone that supported me from inside and outside the judiciary. And I just say that as I leave, may God truly and richly bless you. Thank you very much.